Welcome, everyone, to the Nepalese Diaspora Network. We're your place for news, views, and insights for Nepalese people all around the globe.
That's right. And today we're doing a deep dive into some really important recent events affecting Nepal and Nepalese communities worldwide.
Yep, we've sifted through a bunch of reports to pull out the key things you need to know. Think of it like your curated briefing.
Exactly. We've got about 20 minutes, and we'll cover quite a bit the economy, social updates, politics, and news specific to the diaspora.
All right, let's jump right in. So, economy and development first.
Yeah.
Sounds like there are some funding challenges for projects in Nepal.
Yeah, that's a big one. Revenue collection is lagging quite a bit. They've
Mm.
only hit about 55, maybe 56% of the target this fiscal year.
Woof, that's a significant shortfall. So, how are they planning to fill that gap for development work?
Well, the government's come up with an interesting idea. They've approved a draft bill for what's called the Alternative Development Finance Fund.
Alternative Development Finance Fund.
Okay.
What makes it alternative?
It's about broadening the sources. The goal is ambitious mobilizing around 400 billion rupees every year.
400 billion
Yeah.
annually. How?
Through mechanisms you don't always see in government funding, things like venture capital, mutual funds, even project-specific bonds.
Okay, interesting.
And also tapping into remittance funds, money sent back from Nepalese abroad, and even crowdfunding.
So a real mix. Who's actually going to own and run this fund? Is it purely government?
Yeah, not entirely. The government keeps a majority stake, 51%. But then key players like the Employee Provident Fund, Citizen Investment Fund, Social Security Fund together hold 25%.
Right.
And the remaining 24% is earmarked for insurance and reinsurance companies. So it's a public-private sort of partnership structure.
Got it. And where's all this money supposed to go? What are the priorities?
It's focused on really strategic sectors. We're talking energy, electricity, major infrastructure like roads, industrial parks, dry ports.
That's core development areas.
Exactly. Plus IT, tourism, and building up urban and public digital infrastructure. It seems like a way to tackle big needs despite the current, financial squeeze.
Makes sense. Okay, let's pivot slightly to the banking sector. Nepal Rastra Bank, the central bank. What's been happening there? I heard they were quite active.
Yeah, it's been busy. They actually mopped up, as they call it, about 195 billion rupees from commercial banks.
Mopped up, what does that mean exactly? Taking money out of circulation?
Pretty much. Reducing the amount banks have readily available to lend out. The reason cited is low loan demand because of the general economic slowdown.
Ah, okay. So managing liquidity. And what about inflation? How are prices looking for ordinary Nepalese people?
Actually, there's some relatively good news there. Consumer price inflation has eased. It's down to 3.75% as of mid-March.
Oh, that's a noticeable drop.
It is. Food inflation is around 3.34%, and non-food and services inflation is a bit higher, about 3.97%. But overall, it's moving in the right direction. Should mean a bit of relief.
Definitely good to hear. Now, something else caught my eye, a boom in the life insurance business. Why is that happening?
It's quite fascinating, really. Premiums on fixed deposit life insurance policies have shot up like 2.29 times higher.
Wow.
And the thinking is it's directly linked to falling interest rates on regular bank fixed deposits. As bank returns go down, these insurance policies offering a fixed return look, more attractive.
So people are looking for better returns wherever they can find them. Shows how interconnected it all is.
Exactly.
Now, infrastructure, always crucial. There's talk about updating the land acquisition law.
Yes, and it seems they're fast-tracking it. This is a big deal because the main law hasn't really been updated in, get this, 47 years.
47 years, wow. Okay, so it's probably due for a refresh.
Definitely. The idea is to make the whole process smoother, faster, and also align it better with modern environmental standards. Could really help speed up projects.
But isn't there also a problem with delays impacting people right now? Something about the East-West Railway.
Ah, yes, that's the flip side. A really tough situation in eastern Nepal. Thousands of landowners whose land was marked for the railway project.
Yeah.
They haven't received any compensation since 2020. Their land is basically frozen. They can't farm it, sell it, build on it, just stuck in limbo.
That sounds incredibly frustrating. Years of waiting.
It really highlights how crucial timely and fair compensation is when the government acquires land.
Absolutely. Okay, shifting gears to industry and trade. I read something about illegal exports causing shortages.
Yeah, specifically scrap materials being illegally exported, apparently mainly to India.
And this is hurting Nepalese industries.
Seems so. Companies that make things like egg cartons or plastic goods, they rely on that scrap as raw material. So these illegal exports are causing shortages for them.
Right, disrupting their supply chain needs better control, I guess.
It points to that, yeah. And related to finance, but more grassroots new rules for cooperatives.
What's changing there? Cooperatives are pretty important in Nepal, right?
Hugely important. The central bank has brought in new regulations. One key thing is disclosure. They now need to report details on savings deposits over 1 million rupees.
Okay, more transparency.
Exactly. And there are also new limits on how much deposit a cooperative can actually collect based on where they operate, trying to shore up financial health, protect savers.
Makes sense. And quickly on state enterprises, Nepal Oil Corporation, any news?
Good news for them, it seems. They reportedly turned a profit of about 9.55 billion rupees in the 2024-25 fiscal year.
Okay, positive performance there. And one more striking economic point, electric vehicles.
Oh, this is quite dramatic. Over 70%, 70, of imported four-wheeled passenger cars last year were electric.
70%, that's a massive shift.
It really is. A huge jump from previous years. Suggests consumer preferences changing fast, probably pushed by incentives, lower running costs, maybe environmental awareness too.
Very interesting trend.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to social and cultural topics. And unfortunately, starting with something quite concerning, pesticides in vegetables.
Yes, this is worrying. Lab tests in Kathmandu Valley found hazardous levels of pesticides, specifically organophosphates, in vegetables being sold.
How bad are we talking?
Pretty bad in some cases.
Hmm?
One example was long beans from Chitwan. They found a 92.45% concentration of these chemicals.
Good grief, that sounds incredibly high. What are the health risks?
Organophosphates can be really nasty. We're talking potential neurological damage, kidney failure, other serious health issues with high exposure.
Why is this happening? More pesticide use.
It seems like a few factors. Farmers are apparently dealing with new types of insects, maybe linked to climate change. So they're using stronger doses. And there's also concern they aren't waiting long enough after spraying before harvesting, so the residues are still high.
So what can people actually do? Any advice for consumers?
Well, the advice is to try and reduce residue. Things like soaking vegetables in salt water or vinegar water for about half an hour,
Okay.
or refrigerating them for 12 to 14 hours before cooking. It might help lower the levels, though it's not a perfect solution.
Worth trying, I suppose. On a more positive note, Kathmandu Metropolitan City is doing something about food safety.
Right. Yes, this is a great initiative. They've got a mobile food testing lab now.
Mobile lab, so they can test things on the spot.
Exactly. They can test over 24 different food items, fruits, vegetables, milk, water, whatever, checking for pesticide residue, adulteration, and they get results instantly.
That sounds really effective, bringing the lab to the market, essentially.
It's a big step towards better monitoring and hopefully accountability.
Good. Now, another Kathmandu issue, air quality. It was terrible for a while. Any improvement?
Thankfully, yes. Big improvement recently, mainly thanks to some much-needed rain.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, Kathmandu had climbed the ranks to be one of the most polluted cities globally. But after the rain, it dropped way down, I think, to 15th spot. AQI was around 94, which is moderate, much better.
What caused the bad air before the rain?
It was a combination of prolonged drought and a lot of wildfires burning in surrounding areas. So the rain really helped wash the air clean, at least for now.
Let's hope it lasts. Okay, switching to something lighter fashion, a design competition.
Yes, the Designer of the Year, DOTY 2025, had its finale in Kathmandu. 10 finalists showed their collections.
And the winner gets.
A prize, naturally a sewing machine, but also a really cool opportunity they get to design the national costume for Miss Nepal.
Oh, fantastic. Great platform for young designers.
Definitely. And sticking with culture and getting out of the city, Nagarko is planning something big.
What's happening there?
They've launched preparations for Nagarko Visit Year 2082. 4 local municipalities are working together
A whole visit year? What's the goal?
to attract 1.1 million tourists. They're focusing on promoting homestays and showcasing the local culture up there in the hills.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn to politics and governance. A lot seems to be happening. The Durga Prasad situation. He's been remanded.
Yes, the controversial businessman, Durga Prasad. He's been remanded to custody for 12 days. It relates to that violent pro-monarchy protest in Tinkuni back on March 28.
Right, that was quite serious. What are the charges?
They're very serious. Sedition, arson, attempted murder, vandalism. It was a major incident.
And people were hurt, weren't they?
Tragically, yes. 2 people died and 129 were injured. Plus significant damage over 40 buildings, nearly 70 vehicles damaged.
Just terrible. And others were arrested too.
Yes, including some prominent figures from the Rashtriya Prajatantra Party like Rabindra Mishra and Dawal Shamsher Rana.
And is there agreement on how to investigate this fully?
Seems not. The ruling parties are reportedly against launching a full judicial probe into the Tinkun incident. This has caused a bit of a deadlock in the parliamentary committee looking into it.
Okay. Another governance issue, the central bank governorship. Still vacant.
Yes, the Nepal Rashtra Bank still doesn't have a new governor. The previous governor's term ended back on April 6th.
And why the delay? It seems like a critical role.
Reports suggest it's down to political bickering, basically disagreements within the ruling coalition about who should get the job. It's not ideal, especially given the economic challenges.
No, leadership uncertainty there is concerning. Now, social media. The government's taking a strong stance. An ultimatum.
That's right. They've given major platforms, Facebook, X, YouTube, a deadline mid-April to register officially within Nepal.
Or face a ban.
Or face a potential ban, yes. The government cites concerns about online scams and unregulated content as the main drivers.
Did any platforms registered yet?
Some have, apparently. Viber, TikTok, WeChat are reportedly registered. But the big players, Meta, Facebook's parent company, X, YouTube, latest reports say they haven't registered yet.
Interesting standoff. And linked to this, the Cyber Bureau is warning about scams.
Yes, they're putting out warnings about an increase in online scams, particularly phishing attacks trying to get people's personal information.
It's a tricky balance, isn't it? Regulation versus access. And just to loop back, we mentioned the land acquisition law update earlier. That's still moving forward in the political sphere, too.
Yes, confirms the government is prioritizing pushing that amendment through. Modernizing that 1977 law seems to be a key goal across different government functions.
Okay, let's shift now to news specifically impacting the Nepalese diaspora and some global connections. There's a really worrying report out of the U.S. immigrants listed as deceased.
Yes, this is deeply concerning. Reports indicate over 6,000 living immigrants in the U.S., and this could potentially include Nepalese individuals have been wrongly classified as deceased.
Classified as dead, but they're alive. What does that mean practically?
It means their Social Security numbers have been canceled, which is catastrophic in the U.S. You need it for work, benefits, almost everything.
Why would this happen? An error.
It's being interpreted by many as a deliberate move linked to the previous Trump administration, potentially aimed at forcing people who entered under certain Biden-era programs to self-deport, basically making life impossible so they leave.
That sounds draconian. Are there legal challenges?
Oh, absolutely. Legal challenges are expected. Advocacy groups are rightly up in arms about the potential harm and questionable legality of it all.
A really difficult situation for those affected. On a different note, Nepal helping others relief efforts in Myanmar.
Yes, Nepal sent significant aid to Myanmar after the recent earthquake there. About 27 tons of relief materials. Food, essentials, medicine.
That's substantial.
And more than that, a 16-member medical team from the Nepalese army just returned from a 10-day mission there. They treated nearly 1,300 people affected by the quake.
That's fantastic. A real humanitarian contribution.
It really is. Sadly, the earthquake also impacted the Nepalese community in Myanmar. The ambassador reported 18 Nepalese workers died, and some are still missing. Local groups are helping out.
Heartbreaking news alongside the relief effort.
Indeed. And it's worth remembering, Myanmar helped Nepal after the 2015 earthquake here. So this is, in a way, returning that support, international solidarity.
A powerful example of that. Now, before we wrap up, a quick word for our listeners based in the UK.
Yes, just wanted to mention a useful resource. Belayit.uk. It's a classifieds website specifically for the Nepalese community in the UK.
What kind of things can people find there?
You can find listings for jobs, housing, check out local events happening near you, and also connect with Nepalese-owned businesses. Just a handy online hub, belayit.uk.
Great tip. Okay, so as we finish this deep dive, let's quickly recap the main points.
Sure. Economically, Nepal's innovating with funding like that alternative fund, while inflation moderates, but project delays like the railway are a real issue. EV adoption is surging.
Socially, big concerns over pesticides, but proactive steps like the mobile food lab are good. Air quality improves, thankfully. Culturally, things like the DOTY competition and Nagarko tourism push.
Politically, the fallout from the Cancun protests continues, debates over investigations, delays in key appointments like the NRB governor, and this big push to regulate social media.
And for the diaspora, the worrying situation for some immigrants in the U.S. contrasted with Nepal's commendable aid to Myanmar earthquake victims.
A lot happening on all fronts.
Definitely. So here's a final thought for everyone listening. With Nepal moving to regulate platforms like Facebook and X and the constant threat of online scams, how do we, especially those in the diaspora, navigate this? Balancing life online, staying connected to Nepal, but also staying safe.
That's a crucial question. What's the responsibility of individuals versus the government in this digital age? How do we build resilience?
Something to think about. For more detailed information on everything we've discussed today and to stay updated, please do visit our website at pollutdiaspora.net.
Yeah, lots more resources and analysis available there. Check it out.
Thank you so much for tuning into this deep dive. We hope it's given you a valuable snapshot of what's going on. Join us next time for more insights from the Nepalese Diaspora Network.